on.com here just to do a little number crunching and math. I don't know if it's fully understood yet that the NBA changed their lottery odds a few years ago, and so as the Wolves look to potentially give themselves the best odds to keep their top 3 protected pick from going to Golden State, they'd need to finish in one of those top 3 or bottom 3 spots that would give them a 40% chance to keep the pick. So the problem is they've been playing really well lately, and they've been beating some of these teams like Detroit and Orlando that in theory they're chasing so they're doing damage to their chances to keep the pick. But Doogie, you talked to Gerson Rosas for like 40 minutes this week. We talked to him a couple weeks ago. I don't really care I'd like the pick, don't get me wrong, but this team playing well with this core is much more important than whatever pick you're going to get in the top 3. Am I wrong on that?
No, because last time I checked, 40% is still below 50%. So at best, you're still, in all likelihood, losing the pick. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can give me pick 1, 2, or 3, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, or Evan Mobley, sign me up. By the way, I love the idea of Evan Mobley, the USC big man with Karl Anthony Towns, guarding power forwards. Maybe not for the duration of an entire game, but for stretches, 100% I'm on board with that. By the way, Gerson Rosas is on board with that. I ran that idea by him yesterday. Yeah, we talked for about 45 minutes.
Assistant GM, Darren Wolfson.
Yeah, so, he likes that idea. He agreed with me that Cat can guard, the opposition's power forward. And, really, in the NBA, you are who you can guard. On offense, it's very much positionless at this point, but, just for defensive sake, you need to guard somebody, right? So the position you are is the position you can guard. But yeah, Phil, I'm with you. There's something to be said about camaraderie, cohesion, synergy, Ant and D'Lo forming what appears to be, I didn't think it would happen this fast, but what I've seen so far, and it's not just beating the lowly Pistons, the lowly Magic. What about the Utah Jazz, the Golden State Warriors? They do have some impressive wins going back the last handful of weeks. Even them digging these holes, right? Since mid-March, they have 6 victories when they've gotten down, typically late first quarter, early second quarter, but they're down by 15 or more points. Then they find a way to win. That to me tells me a good amount about this roster. A roster that still needs work, but the fact that they can come back from those sorts of deficits 6 times in the span of 2 months, thumbs up to that. There is reason to be optimistic, to be hopeful moving forward. But yeah, I'm okay with it. Even Cleveland, my buddy J.B. Bickerstaff led the Cavs to a win last night over the Celtics. Right? You would look at Cleveland and say, what the heck are you doing, Cavs? Right? And hey, some of their guys sat out. Garland is out right now. Nance Jr. is out. It's not like J.B. has his full complement of guys, but they found a way. Now the Celtics are without a bunch of guys. The Wolves, by the way, play Boston this weekend. That game on Saturday got announced as a 1 p.m. start. We just found that out about 20 minutes ago. Then the game against Dallas at Target Center on Sunday night, that's an 8 o'clock start. So the Wolves have Denver tonight, Boston Saturday, Denver Sunday to finish out the season. But yeah, 28%, 40%, Phil. Yeah, I'm okay with them, and these last 3 games will be interesting. Certainly the Dallas and Denver games. Dallas is still jockeying for position. Boston may end up resting some more guys, and Jaylen Brown is out for the year. So not so much Saturday, but to some extent tonight, Denver, and then Sunday, Denver. Tonight, Denver, Sunday, Dallas. Mm-hmm. These are fun games. I'm interested to watch and see how it goes. But 40%, 28%, it's still below 50%. I did ask Gerson about, what was that back and forth like when you made the Russell Wiggins trade? At first, did you say, hey, lottery protection, and Golden State said no protection? And how did you guys end up meeting at just top 3 protection? And he said, yeah, there's some give and take. We went back and forth for a while on that. And, he really wanted D'Lo. He really wanted Russell. So he agreed to the top 3 protection just to get some sort of protection, that it wasn't completely unprotected. The doomsday scenario is if the Wolves end up with pick 4 or pick 5. This looks like, right now, it's a 5-player draft. So if you're giving Golden State pick 4 or pick 5, the optics are going to stink. It's going to look really, really bad. If you end up giving Golden State pick 6, pick 7, or pick 8, I think you live with it. And Wiggins has been great. I was watching Wiggins the other night against Phoenix. He scored 40. He shot like 75, 80% from the field. His defense has been as good as it's ever been his 7 years in the league. Golden State is pretty happy overall with the year that Wiggins has had. But if D'Lo can keep playing like he has since coming back from the injury, averaging nearly 19 points a game, shooting about 40% from the field, mid-40s from the field overall, making some of those three-pointers, the playmaking, double-digit assist the other night. Like Chris Finch told me that in a Zoom when we talked a few weeks ago, that he really feels like he can unearth some more playmaking from D'Lo. We're starting to see that. So, if this is the D'Lo we'll see moving forward, I think it can be a win-win. But, yeah, certainly it's going to hurt whether you give them the pick this year or next year. I mean, could be a situation where the Wolves do land up in the top 3, and then, it's unprotected next year. But then the hope would be you're so good next year that pick is, pick 14 or pick 16. But I'm just saying, if you end up giving them pick 6, 7, or 8, it's okay. It really is.
Hey, Dukes, how much different does this thing look also at the start of the coming season with Chris Finch and this team having an entire training camp and being prepared? Because it does, I will say this, it looks like Gerson got the right guy. It looks like this guy 1,000% can coach. And he's, I don't know, he's definitely not a rah-rah guy, but he definitely seems like players like playing for him, which is a good thing, especially now in this league. So how different does this team potentially look with a training camp, with ability to prepare actually for games, as opposed to what we've seen with him, coming in as an assistant from Toronto this season?
It'll look markedly different. It's actually unfortunate that it's not an 82-game schedule. It's a 72-game schedule that the Wolves would love to play another 10, 11, 12 games, and we'll get back to the 82 starting next season. But, yeah, I mean, Gerson told me, he'll give the guys a couple weeks off, but the expectation is pretty quick here. Like, as the calendar flips to June, guys are back in at Mayo Clinic Square working out. There will be a summer league for the first time in a while. Gerson mentioned, heck, even Ant will probably end up playing a game in summer league. Right, he didn't get a summer league last year just to get some run this summer.
Are you serious? We could see Ant in the summer league.
He thought one game, not the full summer league.
Oh my
God,
game. He would destroy summer league.
Yeah, just to get some run, in mid-July or so. Whenever summer league is, actually, it might be more like August, right? Because the draft is late July, the lottery is late June, so things get pushed back, ever so slightly. But yeah, a full training camp, a full preseason. But make no mistake about this. The roster needs help. Like, they can't just run this thing back through and expect to make another leap. It's one thing to leap out of the basement of the conference, which they have. It's actually tougher to now make that leap into the top 10 or top 8. I think the play-in tournament will be here to stay next year, but we don't know that definitively. But let's say the top 10 seeds make the playoffs again next year like they will this year. It's still another sizable leap to get into that top 10 or for sure that top 8. So, they will have the mid-level in all likelihood to spend. They may bring over Leandro Bolmaro, who's playing well for his team in Barcelona, but there's a buyout hiccup there. It's about $900,000. The Wolves can only contribute so much money to that buyout. So then some of it would have to come out of his pocket. So that's still up in the air. He may stay over in Barcelona for another year. If he does, then he would be here, 2 years from now. Not for next season, but, he's shown a pulse in the last handful of weeks. He looks like he's got a chance. I know Mike Schmitz of ESPN, their draft expert, really, really likes Leandro Bolmaro. Like, that the Wolves, nailed it with that pick, that kid's got a chance to be pretty darn good. But, yeah, I mean, whether it's, a Miles Turner type, I think of some other, rugged big men like Holmes out of Sacramento, somebody of that ilk, they need that guy. They still need some shooting help. So I'll be curious to see, as Gerson admitted, it's more likely that those acquisitions come via the trade route. Again, they'll have the mid-level they can use, but more likely you're going to land a guy or two like that via trade. So you look at a guy like Jarrett Culver, underwent ankle surgery last Friday. He'll be able to resume basketball activities in the medium term. Does some team still think the 6th overall pick from a couple years ago maybe just needs a change of scenery? So could he be any sort of attractive trade chip? It's hard for me to believe that, but maybe Ricky Rubio will be an expiring contract.
Yeah, that's a valuable
next season.
So
that's a valuable trade chip. So they've got some opportunities to make some trades this summer.
Yeah, the Rubio thing, and we can sit here and say, "Oh my God, it didn't work out as well as you thought this year," and he's making $17 million. But expiring contracts worth $17 million in the NBA are actually really valuable. So if you can find the right trade partner. Doogie, any updates? I know you've been reporting on the ownership situation. We're outside of the 30-day exclusive negotiating window. Any new information in the last few days on Glenn Taylor selling to A-Rod and Marc Lore?
Well, I suppose the update would be that Lore did an interview, was it with Bloomberg, some national outlet in the last 48 hours, saying that they are near the finish line, that no surprise, talks are ongoing, that they always could have gone beyond the 30 days. I mean, they labeled it as a 30-day exclusive negotiating window, but it's not like you can't talk on day 31, day 32, day 33. So talks are ongoing. Now, I get it that others, like Aaron Aflalo, he told Mark Stein of the New York Times, hey, guess what? That 30 days is up. I'm going to reach back out again to Glenn. And I can guarantee you there's some other individuals reaching out to Glenn, but I think they're far enough down the road that what I told Judd on Tuesday still remains my belief that the deal eventually gets done. But I will tell you this, and this is me playing both sides again, but just me being the messenger, that somebody who knows a lot of stuff bet me a sizable dinner the other day at a pretty nice establishment here in town. Bet me dinner. He is on the side of that this deal will fall through.
Wait, where? Wow. Murray's?
Yeah, one of the steakhouses, yeah.
Manny's?
One of the steakhouses.
Yeah.
Can we get particulars?
One of the steakhouses.
So, I mean, there are some people that think, and you think about A-Rod's history, and
it won't fall
and there's some
through.
shadiness there, that this thing could fall through. But, I take Marc Lore at face value when he offered up those comments to whatever outlet he did a couple days ago. That
Marc Lore is the most
finish
credible
line.
person involved here. Glenn Taylor has gotten cold feet a number of times. A-Rod is a lying, scandalous fraud. Marc Lore is the only. Not that Marc Lore. I don't know him personally, but Marc Lore is probably the most credible of the three here. So
probably, but I mean, there are some sticking points. I mean, Phil, I brought this up with Judd, but I'll remind you that they negotiated this $1.5 billion transaction in the span of a few days at Glenn's Naples, Florida home. Like, I just don't, for the life of me, understand how you negotiate a transaction of this magnitude in the span of just a few days.
Apple pie from Mackey.
Predictably, and the lasagna, and we get all that, but predictably, there are some sticking points. I think one of them is the transfer of power. Will it be a firm 2.5 years where Glenn remains majority owner?
No.
Or could that timetable be sped
so
up?
stupid. It's so stupid.
Don't
Phil,
start
I'm
him
with
up.
you. If
It's
you're
early in
spending that
Seattle.
much money, why the heck do you want Glenn? I get it. Glenn claims it was their idea to have Glenn stay involved for some period of time, but why the heck does it need to be 2.5 years?
Seriously.
Right? If you're spending that much money, why wouldn't you want to be majority owner as soon as possible? Plus, Glenn said that they can put some writing in on relocation. I don't know that you can, how ironclad that is, and the resale value. Like if A-Rod and Lore wanted to sell the team in a few years, that could get interesting if that language is written in. And I'm probably not doing a great job of explaining it, but even though A-Rod and Lore are firmly behind the idea of the team remaining here in the Twin Cities, I don't know if they necessarily want that in writing, if that writing can hold up. I mean, that definitely is some sort of sticking point. That I can tell you. I'm not doing a great job articulating it, but I can tell you the idea of there being something that's written in stone that they can't relocate the team. That's a troublesome spot.
Sure.
Reckless speculation.
All right, it's time to take the gloves off, okay? The Mackey and Judd show, especially with Doogie, is always at the forefront of driving conversations in this town, and we're not going to stop now, okay? So I'm going to throw out a question, and Doogs, you take it in whatever direction you want. The Minnesota Twins, are we on the precipice of getting some sort of change there? I'm not saying Rocco's fired, okay, just to be clear, but a hitting coach can get fired. The Mets blew out Chile a couple weeks ago.
Chili Davis, man.
You can certainly make trades before the deadline. when you are this big of disaster and underachieving, and like Phil said, it looks like they are having no fun. Like, this is not, stop with the, well, they're trying hard and they're just losing game. Bad luck. Okay, stop with that crap and understand you're watching Drek. So you tell me this. Do you get the sense from your spidey senses on Scoops that we are on the verge of something happening here to, at least if nothing else, try and shake them by the shoulders and say, wake the hell up?
Not really. They did offer, or were willing to pay Shane Green, a pretty good reliever that was on the market, more money than he got from the Braves, but he has a history with the Braves. He decided to go with the Braves, but I'm not quite sure that would have been this enormous shakeup. I will refute your point. Now, maybe you were just, championing what's coming out of that clubhouse, but like playing hard. Like, did you see Josh Donaldson on the effort on trying to score on that ball last night?
Yeah, he loafed home.
Yeah, he did.
No, I'm saying
give me a break on that.
But that's a huge
problem. So I'm not even quite sure they're playing hard.
No, I'm mocking people that say that they are.
Yeah, and I get it. So the playing hard thing just doesn't fly. But no, they are not on the cusp. And Joel Sherman, who I think does a good job on MLB Network, writes for the New York Post. He wrote a column the other day. J. Happ, Michael Pineda, some arms that would make sense for the Yankees, and I'm sure the Yankees,
J. Happ might have
if they haven't inquired, they will.
J. Happ might have faded back into the bushes like that meme on the internet.
Yeah, although the White Sox can make a lot of pitchers look ridiculous. I still think if they want to trade J. Happ, they can. And I think those talks eventually pick up. I mean, I don't see reasons for optimism the rest of the way when you're already 10 games under 500. At some point, I think they go on some sort of run, but I don't think it'll be enough. So I think they're going to be in that seller category. And so to me, you sell all pending free agents: Pineda, Happ, Robles, Cruz, Simmons. Get rid of all of them if you can. Find who's the pitcher for the Braves that the Twins traded for Jaime Garcia a few years ago. Is it Yanoa? Is that how you say his last name? Yanoa?
I believe so.
I don't know how you pronounce his first name.
Like 2 home runs.
It took 4 years, right? But he's now a good starting pitcher in the majors. So, trade Andrelton Simmons for some teams Yanoa, right? Like, go find that guy. So I'm all for the Twins selling. But no, there is no sense that major changes are on the cusp. To answer your question, the short answer to your question, Judd, is as we sit here on May 13th, no, they're not ready to blow this thing up to any extent.
Okay. We've got more on that here coming up soon in our Talkin Twins, because I got a few things to get off my chest as well when it comes to the Twins. But Doogie, we got to let you go. Rapid fire scoops to close here.
Well, Byron Buxton is talking in 10 minutes. I'm going to head back down to the newsroom to hop in on the Buxton Zoom. The Twins will increase capacity at Target Field to 60% here in about a week, 80% through June, and then 100%. 100% capacity at Target Field. Now, it might be an easy ticket to get come July 5th, but come July 5th, 100% capacity at Target Field. I was with Kerwin Walton Jr., the former Hopkins basketball star, on Monday. He never gave serious thought. There was a lot of Twitter chatter about, hey, what about Kerwin coming home, play for Ben Johnson? He never really formed a bond with Ben, and Hubert Davis is his guy. I mean, he was upset when Roy Williams retired. He had a good freshman year at North Carolina, but he was all about remaining in Chapel Hill. Speaking of Ben Johnson, he is on the lookout for multiple big men. I can't go into great detail right now, but there is an injury situation in the Gophers' front court that will impact this upcoming season. So Ben still has some scholarships to play with. The number one priority is not one, it is multiple big men.
That is Darren Doogie Wolfson.
Reckless speculation.
I know Pierre LeBrun and Michael Russo reported there could be some interest in Jack Eichel. Have you heard any info on that front that the Wild could pursue Jack Eichel possibly later this summer?
It makes logical sense, right, Declan? Yeah. No, I don't have any great insight right this second on that, but like Billy's been looking for a top centerman for a while, right? So, yeah, if he's available. Now, I wonder about his health situation. But, yes, if Buffalo is going to listen to inquiries, 100% the Wild are going to be at the forefront of those talks. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. Boy, that'll be a fun one to follow for the next couple months. By the way, the NBA draft lottery, I believe it's June 22nd.
June 22nd, yeah, and then the draft is in late July.
So that's when we'll find out if the Wolves keep that pick or not. All right. Inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. 5 Eyewitness News' Darren Doogie Wolfson. You can also find him and some great guests and interviews on the Scoop podcast, Apple, Spotify, ScoreNorth.com. All right, Doogie, we'll talk soon.
All right, see you, boys. Bye-bye.
rocking that old school 1500 ESPN polo today. Scoops and our Talkin Twins discussion today, powered by our friends at Dennis Kirk. If you like to ride, Dennis Kirk is the place for you. Whether you ride a Harley, a Metric Cruiser, a sport bike, whatever it is, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. Order before 8 p.m. and they ship the same day, and shipping is free for orders over $89. They are the best in the business. DennisKirk.com, and we thank them for being a partner of us here on Mackey and Judd. DennisKirk.com. All right, well, let's. Judd already sort of alluded to some of this, but let's.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score.
Yeah.
We're gonna win,
Maybe.
Twins. What's that
Yeah.
baseball
They did
Probably not.
score a little bit last night. They scored
that's nice.
8 runs last night.
Wow.
Wasn't too bad. So help me understand something here. I'm just reading through some of the reaction to this current Twins team that that's 12-22. They're 12. This was a World Series contender on paper going into the season, right? They are 12-22. And I'm just struggling to understand the tone surrounding this debacle. Star Tribune, Thad Levine's gut feeling is the Twins are about to turn a corner. The Athletic, responding to some Miguel Sano criticism on Twitter. His contract isn't massive, eat your entire payroll up type of a bet. When they signed him to an extension, he was good. It's $10 million per year for one more year, which is very reasonable. And there's other sort of similar things, people who cover the Twins or bloggers or whatnot. And I'm Mr. Positive around here. Like, I am the Twins homer of the Twin Cities. And even I am sitting here saying, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, this was supposed to be, all right, now everything, you got Maeda is this stud pitcher, and you got 4 or 5 trustworthy starters, your bullpen, column A, your lineup is a combination of great established veterans and the young nucleus all emerging into their prime, and like, this is it right here. This is the window. You're in it right now. They're 12-22. So help me understand, what is this, like, why defend what's happening right now? What is the, this is a debacle. This is every bit as bad as 2011, maybe even worse, because in 2011 you could chalk it up to like 15 dudes around the disabled list. There's been some injury issues here, but it's been mostly just guys crapping the bed on the field for the last 6 weeks.
I'll defend my former paper by saying this. If a GM or executive comes out and says we're about to turn things around, you definitely write it. And then my expectation would be that a columnist will mock it tomorrow. So if the team says that, you go with that. That's fine. I mean, he's wrong, but that's still fine. As far as the local representation of the Twins and the hope that, they could do this or they could do that, or Jorge Polanco is hot. I mean, Phil, it goes back to an age-old discussion. It's driven by a lot of people in this town, starting, as we always say, with my guy, the late, great Sid Hartman, who was always pushing the positive. And look, I joke about it and it drives me crazy, but when Bally Sports North now, formerly Fox Sports North, spends its pregame show telling you that baseball's a funny game and a lot of things can happen and the team tried hard.
What was Bramer's tweet?
He tweeted out
Declan and I can't see it because he's blocked both of us. So we need you to
which is really, really a shame because I have unfettered access to Mr. Bramer. He tweeted the Twins theme song that, of course, we play. Go ahead. And how it reminds him that things will get better. And how things aren't really that bad. That it's disappointing. It's been tough, but that's how this market. But that's how this market works. That's the thing about this market is it works on positivity, and something has to happen good. Which is why our show has long offered an alternative to no, it really doesn't. This look. I'm going to write this soon, but right now this is one of the flat out most disastrous, disappointing seasons in Minnesota sports per expectations.
Yes.
Not the Twins.
And it's okay. It's okay to call it that.
But I mean, the 2010 Vikings were a disaster, and they were, a great team in 2009. I would say that the 2011 Twins, given expectations off of the division title in 2010, qualify, right? Mm-hmm. But this fits right in.
Yeah. I also, this is amazing. I think it was Declan that brought this up yesterday, but I still I woke up this morning and I literally I woke up, cleared my eyes, checked Twitter, I love checking Twitter first thing in the morning.
I do too.
Love
we're sick in the head.
Spiking your adrenaline by searching through Twitter. And I remember tweeting last night that Miguel Sano has yet to hit a double this season. And I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm going to tweet that again. That's amazing. He's yet to hit a double. It is what, May 13th. May 13th. This team has played about 20% of its overall schedule. And Miguel Sano has yet to hit a double. A double.
I'm sorry, what?
What are we doing here? A double? Dude, what are you doing? And just to go off on him for 1 second, if I may, okay? So he's 28 years old. He's in the middle of his prime right now. And he was supposed to be going back 5-6 years ago and certainly 10 years ago, one of the centerpieces for this franchise. Like the middle of the order bat, the number 3 hitter, the number 4 hitter. Instead, he's hitting 8th, hitting 7th because he's terrible. And he's unplayably bad offensively right now. And he looks heavy again, too, and all those things. It's like, not only is he nowhere near being the centerpiece that people thought he was supposed to be, he probably shouldn't be in the lineup anymore, period. But you can't trade him because he makes $10 million this year and next year, and no one's going to take that on. You'd have to literally eat that salary for someone to take him, and then you wouldn't get a prospect back. That's where we're at. Max Kepler has shown some life. I will say that Jorge Polanco has come around quite a bit since we talked about him about 2 weeks ago.
Coming up next on Valley Sports North, Jorge Polanco or Tris Speaker. Which one would you want in their prime?
But the Miguel Sano thing is amazing. And I think everyone's still sort of clinging to, well, he got hot for 2 weeks last year. If you look at age 25 through 28 for him, he had the big 2019 season. The other 145 games for him have been a disaster for the most part. Batting average under 200. He's missing games because of injury all the time. On base percentage below 300. Unplayable in 3 of the last 4 years outside of a 2-week hot stretch last year.
And by the way, in my opinion, the contract is inconsequential. This is one of your supposed star players busting. So, the contract to me is not the discussion point here. The discussion point is one of your supposed marquee cornerstone players for years to come is a complete bust. That's the conversation.
And if he gets hot, it's too late. If he gets hot now, I don't want to.
But if I paid him $10, that's not the point here. The point is this is a guy I developed and was supposed to become a great player, a really good, consistent home runs, to your point, doubles. He's a bust. So the price tag on him is not my worry. It's the fact that you are going to basically have to dump him off for nothing. You are literally going to have to leave him on the baseball garbage heap.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It kind of feels, too, just, again, watching the body language of this team and it kind of feels like 5 guys, 5 different cabs kind of a deal. I can't remember what famous team that was said about.
Oakland A's, early 70s.
25 guys, 25 cabs.
But they won World Series. So Sports Dad has an idea, though. I think that the 3 of us can get rich, and here's how. I think that we might not get rich, but what we will do is enlighten and educate.
Okay.
I think we now have the genesis of a syllabus to teach a college class. And here's the college class. Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, as far as the public in this town turning on a player.
Oh, love this.
Miguel Sano is walking. He's I stink. And people are still well, you don't understand. Miguel Sano might be fine. And at the very least, there are a couple people upset. An entire stadium was pissed off at Joe. I would love to teach a college course on the psychology because I don't know how he got picked on like he did in this town where we are, forgive my French, wussified as can be, right?
Dude, there were years that Joe Mauer would have a 300 average, a 400 on base percentage, and he'd hit a couple more ground ball double plays than the average player, and he wouldn't hit home runs, and people booed him.
Yeah, that's my point.
Booed him.
How did this? But Why Joe? Why did we turn so hard on Joe? And Miguel Sano literally deserves to be booed every time he comes to the plate.
And no one cares, right? Like, does he
That's
get any negative reaction at all?
There was
What?
I kid you not, the last game that I went to, the afternoon game against Texas, I believe it was, Phil, there was one guy, and it was hilarious, but he rode Miguel the entire game. But it was one guy.
But we love him because he hits bombs once in a while, right? So if he hits a couple taters, in June
how is he
when the
not
weather
getting booed?
warms up, it's a great question. I think part of it is Joe Mauer made so much money, right? He made $23 million a year on a 7 or an 8 year contract, and I do think it's a very Midwestern and Minnesota thing to be a little envious. Like, okay, you're going to come in here and you're going to make ridiculous money, and you're not going to live up to what I perceive a player of that financial status should be, right? When you make that much money, you should be hitting more home runs. That's sort of the
guess.
even though Joe Mauer getting on base at a 400 clip during his prime, and when he played first base, he was kind of a disaster offensively in the injuries and so. I'm not saying he lived up to the contract from year 1 to year 8, but people always misperceived the true value that he brought. Right, he was a great defensive catcher who got on base all the time and hit 300
And wasn't paid well then.
Well, during a few of those years, for sure.
Yeah, that's the other thing is before he got the big payday.
Yeah. So I think people constantly saw the dollar figure over his head every single time he bounced into a 4.63.
Sure.
Miguel Sano only makes $10 million a year. He's not touted as this highly paid, record-breaking contract guy. So also, like, here's another thing. Joe Mauer was ripped all the time for not being fiery enough and not being a good enough leader, right? Like, when the team is down, why doesn't Joe show some fire and snap them out of it? Why doesn't Joe pull some guys aside? Wow, Miguel Sano's 28. Dude's been around for like 6 or 7 years, been in the organization for a decade. Why don't we criticize, like, when the team's going poorly, dude, this is on you too. Why don't you show some better leadership and pull someone aside and be a better pro, right? But we never talk about that. We just let him go on striking out in half of his plate appearances and waiting for his inevitable 3-week hot stretch that's now going to be too late.
But he is, as you said, unplayable right now. Like, he is unplayable. He's not bad. He's not disappointing. He is a complete and utter bust at this point. And we are all like, I don't know. It's just the Mauer thing so intrigues me because of the amount of vitriol. Like you would have thought that we were Boston, Philadelphia with him, the way that we went after him. And it was like the only guy. I mean, how many guys, for the most part, guys in this town completely skate on things.
Yep.
And we decided that Joe Mauer was going to be our guy. And I'm equally as disappointed that Sano is getting no heat. It's very disappointing. Like, where are you? Where are you people? Criticize him, rip him. He deserves it. And by the way, if you at one point championed him, which was fine, like at one point we thought, oh my God, he's got all this power, right? If you at one point were the Miguel Sano champion, this is your opportunity now to dump on him. Like dump on him. Come back, and this is not, I don't fault you. You saw what you thought was going to be a really productive player.
Yeah.
This is why you set expectations. So if they're not met, you can lash out at that person or that team.
To Mackey's point about, when he made a list of the top 10 most important players of the Twins' success, I think you made that list. Was that like a year ago last year, Phil? Was that like in 2020 when you were making a list of the top 10 most impactful players in the Twins? And even if we want to revisit that now.
It was I just pulled it up here. It was in August of 2020.
Okay.
So like 2 months into their season last year.
So if we're talking about Miguel Sano being one of the top 10 most important players on a roster, and there's 26 players on a roster, if our argument is top 10 and not top 5 or top 3, I can tell you right now, if he's in 6 to 10, then he really isn't that much of an impactful player. If your argument is, he's in the 10th, 1 through 10 percentile, well, is that really more 6 through 10? Because if he's really that important, you'd be saying he's one of the 3 most important players on your roster, and right now he's completely expendable.
So I'm wrong a lot, as you can tell by my historical
Join the club.
that down batting averages.
Well, I got a hot streak right now, Miguel Sano.
I am. That's true. I've skyrocketed to second, but I tweeted out last August my stance on Miguel. This is right around the time of his hot streak. I said my stance on Sano remains the same always. He's a good but streaky power hitter with very few other valuable MLB skills. He hits bombs in an era where a ton of guys hit bombs. He's not even one of the 10 most important players on the Twins. I got savaged for tweeting that. Like, I went through and was looking at some of the replies last night. Like, I mean, like, just savage. One of the dudes from Twins Daily screenshotted that tweet like the day after and said, you need to be inducted into the Bad Takes Hall of Fame, right, for suggesting that Miguel Sano is a one-dimensional, and he's streaky at that one dimension, right? When he's not streaking with that one dimension, he's unplayable. That's like 3 of the last 4 years he's been unplayable. So I love the comparison to Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer took a lot of, I think, unwarranted heat for a long time. Not that there weren't things to criticize about Joe, but like the level of vitriol compared to how great of a player he was for a long time. Right. And Miguel Sano gets to strike out 3 times every day, twice a year has a 2-week hot stretch, and we just marvel. Oh, look how far he can hit a baseball! Like,
and the rest of the time,
Adam
we
Dunn
just
can
sort
hit
of
a baseball 500 feet too. Like, who cares?
And the rest of the time, we just sort of ignore it. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, if you're going to be, I almost appreciate in some ways the weird obsession with Mauer's struggles and failures, because that to me is sports fans. Like, be good sports fans. That's great. But then you got to translate it to everybody. And it's almost like people that were wrong about Sano are taking it personally and like trying to back off, like I didn't really say that, or I still think he'll be good. As opposed to my point is when a guy disappoints you like this, dump on him. Like, you've every right to be mad at Miguel Sano. Like, he's let himself get fat again. He's awful. Like, he is terrible. Yeah. That's not a you, the Twins fan problem. It's for you to take it out on him, which you're not even coming close to doing, which I don't understand. And by the way, last thing, I get the sense among the locker room problems, I get the sense Nelson Cruz has punted. Do you remember when Sano, and I think he did help him immensely, so I'm not trying to downplay that. 2019, I think Nelson Cruz, they put their lockers together. Nelson Cruz had a major impact, and it definitely helped. I'm getting the sense more and more he's sort of punted on that, which is a problem, because I thought that they were going to be sort of linked. They definitely were back then. Feels like now there's a distance or something.
Yeah, it's tough because reporters can't go into the clubhouse yet. It's been 2 years just with COVID, so like reporters haven't been able to go into the clubhouse. And with baseball, it's not like players are gonna like air out everything in front of reporters, but you can, like, the amount of time that you spend in, like, the way that baseball beat writing works is you get like an hour and a half of pregame access where you can just roam the clubhouse and you can talk to players and you can just see interactions. It's a very transparent, open, behind-the-scenes environment compared to like the NFL, where they herd you in for like a 30-minute window sometimes, and the guys know when it is, so they stay out, and then they'll bring guys to the podium. Like baseball, all those dudes are just in the clubhouse on a regular basis, right? So you get to see the dynamics, and when a team is dead, we've been in those clubhouses before when guys don't like each other. You can tell there's sort of a frost in the air. When guys get along and there's a chemistry, you can sense that too. Because reporters haven't been allowed in a couple of years, it's hard to tell, like, what's the Josh Donaldson dynamic like? Andrelton Simmons has been a very vocal anti-vaxxer. I'm sure there's people on the team that adamantly disagree, right? Like, there's some dynamics in play here that only exist because of the climate that we're in 2021 that I think are having an effect. I don't think this team likes each other. That's my own personal opinion. When I watch this team and the body language, I've covered baseball before. Some of it's the losing, like losing can wear on you, but I just feel like this doesn't have the feel of a we're all in this together and let's find a way together to bust out of this. It kind of feels like, whatever. I guess I'm still picking up a paycheck.
I don't think that Rocco was built to handle this type of predicament. I think he's very much, if things are good, I think he is very much into empowerment of people. And, hey, Cruz, I'll empower you and blah, blah, blah. I sense right now that he doesn't know what to do. And, like, he has no idea what button to push. The other thing that I would love to know, to your point, and it's the thing that we have no clue, and it's the one guy that I'd love to know how it changed the dynamic from day one, but certainly now, is Donaldson. I mean, because he's a brash dude. He's a brash, wound, tight as hell guy. That 2019 team was very live and let live. A lot of fun. Rosario could screw up and they'd all sort of laugh, right? And Cruz dictated the atmosphere of that clubhouse, but he did it basically by walking in. There was never this overbearing. So I would love to know what the Donaldson dynamic did, because that cannot be dismissed. Like, you can't just say, well, this is not rotisserie baseball. This is real people spending a ton of time together. And the Donaldson thing, to me, would be the most interesting thing to just sort of get a feel for firsthand.
Yeah, well, good point.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score.
Let's Talkin Twins with Mackey and Judd here. You can find
a lot
us
out of that today.
Talkin Twins pretty much every day still. I honestly don't know how long that's going to last at this point. Plus, the Wild are about to hit the playoffs, and
We got
the
times.
Wolves off season is about
Fire
to
up
hit.
State of Hockey. That's what we have to do. The State of Hockey song has to be fired up.
Yeah, I'll give you this one. That's going to be the song that plays when the Wild pulls a first-round upset. So-
Sunday at 2 o'clock, game 1 against Vegas or Colorado. That is set in stone. So
Okay,
it'll be
so
Sunday, game
Sunday,
1.
2
Oh,
o'clock.
Sunday at 2 o'clock. Some people are going to have to get back from their trips.
I will be in very good spirits at puck
What does
drop
that mean?
at 2 o'clock Central.
So
I
are
have
you in on Monday or no? What's
No,
the?
I'm in on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in on Monday.
He's now in on Monday
I'm in
because
on Monday.
the Wild. He was hoping that they wouldn't start
Yeah, I was
till
hoping till
Monday, but they were going to start on Monday.
Okay, hey, no.
Playoffs start Saturday,
Yeah.
dude. So you're actually very fortunate they didn't decide to drop
I'll
the puck.
take this one. But yeah, 2 o'clock start, and then of course
2 o'clock Central.
2 o'clock Central start on
Okay,
Sunday.
so noon in Vegas, possibly.
But then games 2, 3, and 4 are all like 9 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m. starts in Central Time. So we get the one afternoon start for Sunday after matinee hockey, and then it's
course.
the late night coffee drinking
the
for me.
beauty
because we're
of
stuck in the middle.
Stuck
in the middle of the
living
country.
on the West Coast.
I was gonna
as a
say, Phil doesn't
transplant
care.
Minnesota sports fan.
Mr.
That's right.
Kraken don't care. Hey, you signed a player.
Yeah,
Oh,
Congratulations.
did we sign the
Kraken
player?
signed their first player.
some guy.
Took a walk by the
He'll never play for him, but that doesn't matter.
Climate Pledge Arena, which used to be, I think, Key Arena.
It
They're
was.
redoing the whole thing. It's been shut down for like 2 years, just gutting it and redoing it. So excited for
Future
watch
home of
the
your
Wild come through and play the Kraken.
future home of your Minnesota Timberwolves.
I hope not. I really hope not. I just want the expansion team so we can have some Timberwolves can stay in Minnesota. You guys ready for some old tweets exposed here?
Yep.
Declan goes back in the archives every Thursday and outs us for being mostly wildly incorrect. So what do you got here?
All right, Talkin Twins edition. This is from Judd Zolgad on July 19th, 2020. There are a few guys on this Twins team that need to win now, Cruz, Donaldson, for the potential work stoppage in 2022. But overall, the more you see some of the prospects, the more you realize how bright the future could be at Target Field. And yes, this is me tweeting that.
Look at
Yeah,
you, man.
very valuable lesson for why not to be positive right there.
This was before the season, right? This is before because they didn't start till toward the
Yeah,
end
July
of
9th. Yeah, they've
This was,
started like
right
July
before.
28th.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel really good about this.
All right, so
sorry,
Judd,
man.
leader in the clubhouse here. Leader in the clubhouse.
I'm in the clubhouse.
All right. I'll,
Such a bright future.
I'll go next year because Phil and I are a little bit attached. May 13th, 2018, Addison Reed is so money. Absolute fantastic pickup.
Oh my God,
Has he pitched again?
no.
I don't know if he has. He did get off to a very nice start in 2018 before
Yeah.
things went completely off the rails.
I heard
because
he-
he was a
he
good
was
reliever.
a good reliever.
He has not pitched in the major leagues since the Twins.
Yeah,
So
I
he
heard
was-
he was not easy to get along with.
In the 2 years leading up to the Twins signing him, he had 2016 a 1.97 ERA.
Yeah.
He had 80 appearances. The next year, he had a 2.84 ERA with 77 appearances, 125 career saves, and then kind of a disaster with the Twins. It's not good.
Not great.
So, arm injury? Why
I
is he
think
not on
so.
the
I think it was
team?
like a forearm.
Uh,
I think it was maybe something.
yeah, he was also a first-class jerk from
Just
what I
a-
heard.
Yeah, but
jerk
like, I
wad.
mean, if he could pitch,
Yeah,
Right.
but
Deal with jerks
but
all
once
the
he
time.
could, but once he couldn't, they just
Yeah.
said screw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Give me Tyler Clipper.
Oh, that's
I
pretty
liked
bad,
One
man.
more.
I think Declan leads right now.
One more, January 13th,
This
2018.
is a splash.
This is a splash. Addison Reed instantly becomes the Twins' best reliever.
Oh, those are bad. Those are worse than Judd's. Because like bright future could still apply. They got Kirilloff and
Yeah, Larnick.
there's some bright
some room
spots.
for error.
Barrios. Like, I don't think it's a full on like decade futility stretch coming up. I think they need a retooling for next year. So I guess, you and I, it's the same sentiment. I think you and I
Yeah.
probably tie for the championship.
We're
this
both
weekend.
going to jail on first degree here. I
We
think.
both take the title.
We're accomplices. As
Wait, you tied? No
Yeah, we-
shootout?
both pretty much tweeted the same thing.
No
about
guy on
Addison Reed.
second to start the 10th? Let's break this tie.
Addison Reed wouldn't be able to hold him.
Yeah.
On and run.
All right. Well, that was an informative and therapeutic episode of Mackey and Judd today. Let's go. We learned some things from Doogie, as we always do on this Reckless Speculation Thursday. If you want, also, we had a little Reckless Speculation Wednesday. If you haven't listened to our episode from yesterday, diving into the Jack Eichel Wild rumors that are going to be a thing for the next couple of months. So check us out there. And then Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment. It's our other daily show. And we appreciate everyone who has helped us. You helped us set a download record for Score North in the month of March, and we almost tied it in April. So it's been a fun spring for us as we continue to be your Minnesota sports therapists. Mackey and Judd, executive producer Declan. We'll see you tomorrow. We're doing Kickboxer,
I'm ready.
one of the classic.
Are you ready? Have you watched it?
80s
No, I'm
action
watching tonight.
movies. Have you? And you've never seen it?
Never seen it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'd never seen it either till Tuesday, and now I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm punching on the WoW game. Sorry, I'm not watching the WoW game. I'm watching Kickboxer.
it's
You're not going to watch The Wild?
It's a meaningless game. It's going to be scrubs in. Like they're locked into 3.
You'll see the future.
Oh yeah, the future of the AHL Wild. Yeah, you're right. Not the Minnesota Wild.
What's the deal? So is Boldy just so he's not part of he's not skating around or anything? He's just not. Are they not calling
He's
up
still. They're going to for the playoffs. Supposedly right now on the taxi squad.
Oh, but so he's going to be on the roster. For
He's
the
going to be
playoffs?
on the taxi squad. I think he plays. I think they're
he
going to
gets in
unveil.
somehow.
I think they're going to unveil him.
Yeah, he gets unveiled.
I think this is being done on purpose.
I'd wait till the second period. Just catch the opponent as off guard as you can. He comes out. He comes out in a Parisi jersey,
By God, it's Matthew Boldy. What the hell's he doing here?
a Parisi mask. Be great.
Yeah.
Mask.
NHL is everything is WWE. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Good talk.
Bye.